Straight men, what's the most homosexual thing you've done? Joined the Navy. Their motto is not gay if underway or it's only queer at the pier. I have a buddy that, when a bit tipsy, will run up and kiss me on the cheek whenever he sees me. I don't see him do this to anyone else, so that's kinda strange, but I have to admit to kinda looking forward to it now. Said out loud, in public, I wanna see that dude with his shirt off. I was sitting next to my dad at the time. I have no regrets. Old high school locker room games of gay chicken. The problem was some of those guys were bi-curious. And the rest of us were stupid. I once went to a LGBTQ party with two gay friends, one male, the other female. I was around 20 at the time. And TBH, it wasn't all that different from parties I had been at before, except that they handed out glow-in-the-dark sticks at the entrance to use as a bracelet. Red for already in a relationship or not looking for one, green equals looking for someone. At the time I had a GF, so I was wearing a red glow stick around my wrist. During that party one dude said to me, "Too bad you are wearing red." And yet I was flattered. I toughed, "What a good idea. All parties should have this." A straight friend of mine got asked by an old man to suck his penis for cash. He never did anything like that. Anyway, he took the cash, got his dick sucked. The old guy actually died the next day of natural causes. This same friend, now ex-friend, soon after banged my girlfriend and now has 2 kids with her and now they are divorced. Took a selfie with a friend while kissing to set his home screen on a third friend's iPad. Besides sex with men, probably the 8 years of musical theater. Got spit roasted between 2 other tweakers while geeked up on meth. Wasn't gay then, kinda gay now. Watched Henry Cavill assemble his gaming PC. When I was 5, my best friend across the street taught me a game called Santa Claus where we would sit on each other's laps with our pants down and our pee-pee in the other's butt crack. After I grew up I realized he may have been sexually abused. I told my previous neighbor I'd fuck him in the ass if he blocked my driveway again with his truck. I used to let older men suck my dick for money. I would watch porn. They would suck me off. $50 an encounter. It was pretty good cash. Joined the US Navy. I was invited to an orgy back in the 90s, and a woman sat on my face, and after a while eating her pussy, someone started to suck my cock, and when she came, I looked to see who was blowing me, and it was her husband. He was good, I might say. Never argue with an idiot. They will drag you down to their level and beat you with experience. What's your best real-life example of this? I used to argue a lot with my sister when we were kids. She would do this thing where she would say something, and then I would reference back to it literally a minute or 2 later to prove a point and she would say I never said that or that's not what I said. Absolutely impossible to argue with someone who will just deny having said things that could hurt their argument. Also, trying to change the course of an argument if they feel like they are losing. A coworker once called me an idiot for doing something incorrectly when I was actually doing it the right way. When I politely explained to them that the way they suggested doing the task didn't actually work, they started asking, "Why are you getting so angry?" I was just trying to help, etc. So now we're arguing about whether I'm angry or not instead of the right way to complete the task. When I tell people to just reboot your computer and it will fix all their problems and yet they won't because they said if you wait long enough it will shut down, when in reality it only goes to sleep. Then when I tell them they have to completely shut it down they look at me like I'm an idiot and say they did. I tell them it seems like it but it only went to sleep. They argue back. For a short while, I worked as a line cook at a Cracker Barrel, and there was a little saloon-style door that led to the staff section, kitchen, bathroom, etc. There was a staff-only sign on the door, above the doors, and on the wall behind the doors at eye level. Usually if someone from the customer side comes in, they said, coming in before opening the door, so they didn't hit anyone, but of course customers didn't know that. So when this dude opened the door and hit a waitress carrying a ton of drinks, we were reasonably upset with him. He said, "You should really put a sign up." We showed him all the signs, and he goes, "That seems a bit excessive." Removed. This was best said. Asterisk never wrestle with pigs. You both get dirty and the pig likes it. Asterisk George Bernard Shaw. Working retail. Especially when I worked in the tech shop a computer store. Trying to convince someone their $500 laptop is never going to be a gaming system no matter how many of the very few replaceable parts we throw at it can be exhausting. Removed. 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 Was arguing with this dude about something math related. He didn't know how to read a study which involved statistics. Claimed he was in multiple AP math classes. Tried saying that I probably don't even know basic integration. Gave me a common integration problem. He wrote it but forgot the minus sign, making it unsolvable. I pointed it out and he edited the comment to make it correct. Told him that some people can see when you edit comments. He claimed that he just capitalized a letter. On and on and on. Once worked with a guy who, by his own admission, got his rocks off by picking fights. He'd start an argument over the smallest thing. If you said it was white, he'd say it was black, just to try to start something. The one that always stood out for me was the weather app competition. One day he asked me what temperature it was, so I read it off my weather app. He got all offended, because his weather app said it was a couple degrees warmer. So he decides we're going to have a weather app competition. He was going to chart what our apps said the temperature was, and at the end of the week, whichever one was closest to that day's high would be the winner. And the loser would have to start using the winner's app. To which I said, what is your fucking problem? So, yeah. For the first few days, he'd make a big performance about marching into my office, recording the temperature off my app, jotting down some notes, and walking off. This started on a Monday. He gave up after Wednesday. Either because I was winning, or he was disappointed because, despite his best efforts, I just did not give a fuck about weather apps. Or maybe the boss told him to stop because I filed a complaint that this was bordering on harassment. Anytime I've tried to explain marginal tax rates to an employee. Social media debates. You won't convince someone they're wrong, you're screaming at a brick wall. Deleted. Even though they're wrong, they'll still carry on the argument, and then when you've convinced them they'll say yeah, that's what I said, trying to make you look the fool. Had plenty of arguments like that. What movie blew your mind when you first saw it? Raiders of the Lost Ark. I was about 9 and walked out of the theater like wow wow. Edited to say, please don't spend money. It's just a fond memory. Something that can't be repeated. The nearest thing was taking a rip-off nitrous on acid and jumping into a swimming pool a few years later. Synthetic simplicity. Aliens, what an incredible movie-going experience. I was really engrossed the entire time. Spirited Away. The feeling it left me with was like I'd had an intense, vivid dream. I'd never seen such soulfully executed animation. Terminator 2. Edited to add, wow, I didn't realize just how many people felt the same way. Thanks for the awards everyone. Jurassic Park. The Matrix. Fight Club. It was such a weird movie with such crazy characters. Beautifully shot and a great story with themes that are still of interest today. Saving Private Ryan. My heart rate was sky high for the whole of the beach landing scene and I felt like I was there with them. Star Wars, 1977. I was 9 years old. Never saw anything like it before. Removed. Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. The Prestige. The Land Before Time. Granted I was like 4 years old but still. The Fifth Element. Memento.